Before we begin, tap like, subscribe, and turn on notifications so you don't miss our in-depth coverage of Middle East politics, Syria's changing leadership, and the people shaping the region's future. And tell us in the comments, will Syria's new First Lady emerge as a public force like Asma al-Assad once did, or will she keep a low profile while redefining the role in a more traditional way? Syria has a new government, and with it, a new First Lady. Latifa al-Daroubi, the wife of the new president, Ahmed al-Sharaa, has made her first public appearances after years outside the spotlight. Those moments have sparked worldwide interest and raised a series of questions. Who is she, what does she represent, and how much influence will she wield in a country trying to turn a page after more than a decade of conflict? According to the new authorities, the political shift came at the end of 2024, when Bashar al-Assad left Syria for Russia, ending his long rule. An opposition-led administration moved to fill the vacuum, and Ahmed al-Sharaa, once seen as a rebel commander, stepped forward as head of state. He has begun to present himself not as a militia leader but as a president with international ambitions, opening channels to regional capitals, meeting counterparts, and courting recognition. In that context, the introduction of Latifa al-Daroubi has been strategic rather than incidental. A first lady may be a spouse, but in politics she is also a symbol of continuity, of normal life, and of the kind of country a new administration wants to project to its citizens and to the world. Latifa al-Daroubi's biography is rooted in one of Syria's oldest families. Born in 1984 in Al-Qaryatayn, in the Homs Governorate, she comes from a lineage that predates the modern Syrian state. The Daroubi name appears in records from the Ottoman era. Her great-grandfather, Ala al-Din al-Daroubi, is remembered as both a high-ranking official and a court physician under Sultan Abdul Hamid II. After the Ottomans withdrew, he briefly served as Syria's prime minister before he was assassinated, a reminder that Syrian political life, even a century ago, was rarely peaceful for long. The family's prominence is not only political. The Daroubis have been connected to religious learning as well, with respected Quran reciters among their ancestors. The name Latifa, meaning gentle and gracious, fits how acquaintances describe her: measured, understated, and observant. She holds a master's degree in Arabic language and literature, a foundation that explains her polished use of classical Arabic in private settings and, now, at public meetings. Her marriage to Ahmed al-Sharaa predates his rise to power. 4 years, he operated in the shadows of civil war, commander, negotiator, rival, ally, depending on the phase of the conflict and the vantage point. Their relationship remained off-stage. It's not clear whether the match was a love story or a traditional alliance between notable families in Homs and beyond. In a country like Syria, both can be true at once. The couple has 3 sons. Beyond that, details of their domestic life are scarce. In one interview, the new president described years of moving from place to place for security, including periods living in remote mountain areas with his wife and children, a glimpse of the war's private dislocations. Family ties extend into the new state architecture. Latifa's sister is married to Mar Muhammad Marwan, who, after the change of government, was appointed governor of Damascus. It's a reminder that in Syria, as in much of the region, trust often runs through family networks. For a leadership still consolidating control, placing reliable figures in key posts is a calculated decision, not a coincidence. Until recently, Latifa al-Daroubi kept entirely away from public life. No social media presence, no profiles in the press, no official appearances. That changed the day after Ahmed al-Sharaa took the oath of office. On January 29th, he was sworn in as president. On January 30th, he introduced his wife to a visiting delegation of Syrian women from the United States. It was her first official appearance. The moment was carefully managed. The president brushed aside social media rumors that he might have more than one wife. "There is no one else. What you hear online is just gossip," he said with a smile, while Latifa declined to pose for photographs with the group. Her presence was unmistakable, yet she maintained a measure of privacy. The true debut came not in Damascus but abroad. On his first international trip as head of state, Ahmed al-Sharaa met Saudi Arabia's Crown Prince Mohammed bin Salman. Soon after, a video surfaced of the president and his wife performing Umrah in Mecca. The images, husband and wife walking side by side within the Grand Mosque, spread quickly across Arabic language platforms and into international feeds. For many Syrians, it was the first time they had ever seen the new First Lady. For the new government, it was a potent picture: piety, legitimacy, and regional alignment, all in one frame. The itinerary did not end in Mecca. The following day, the President and First Lady flew to Turkey, where they were hosted by President Recep Tayyip Erdogan and First Lady Emin Erdogan. Emin Erdogan later posted that she and Latifa discussed humanitarian aid, women's empowerment, and the centrality of education in rebuilding a country ravaged by war. In just a few days, Latifa Al-Daroubi had moved from private life to public diplomacy, a clear signal that she will be part of the new administration's foreign policy toolkit as well as its domestic messaging. That raises the obvious comparison. How does Latifa Al-Daroubi's style and role stack up against Asma al-Assad, the woman who defined the position of Syrian First Lady for nearly 2 decades? The two could not be more different in presentation or in the politics they embody. Asma al-Assad, a British-born investment banker turned First Lady, was once celebrated in Western media as the Desert Rose. She appeared without a headscarf, dressed in high-fashion suits, and pushed a public agenda heavy on schools, entrepreneurship, and cultural projects. She accompanied Bashar al-Assad to meetings with global leaders, gave interviews to glossy magazines, and repeatedly positioned herself as the modern face of a regime that was anything but. In later years, especially after the war hardened Western opinion, the coverage changed. Asma was said to have consolidated power behind the scenes, managing parts of the regime's finances, and acting as a key advisor to her husband even as sanctions tightened and the conflict ground on. Whether one saw her as a soft power asset or the smiling face of a hard regime, she was undeniably public and unabashedly secular in tone. Latifa Al-Daroubi projects a very different image. In public she wears modest, traditional clothing and a hijab. Her manner is calm, reserved, and deferential, closer to the ideal of an observant Muslim wife than to the westernized model Asma once cultivated. The contrast is not accidental. If Asma al-Assad tried to normalize a secular, elite lifestyle in the heart of Damascus, Latifa's presence signals a return to conservative values and religious legitimacy, both essential to the social base of the opposition forces that now claim control. She does not need to be a reformist politician. Her strength lies in embodying what the new leadership wants to communicate to Syrians. We are not a colonialized elite, we are of you. That matters for Ahmed al-Shara's image as well. He is trying to establish himself as a statesman, not a warlord, a president, not an insurgent. In that project, a First Lady who appears grounded, modest, and in tune with traditional communities is a strategic advantage. It says, this presidency will not recreate the Assad era's closed social circle. There will be no gilded class sealed off from the rest of the country. What you will see is stability, faith, and family, values that many Syrians cherish after years of fear and displacement. What might that look like in practice? Expect Latifa Al-Daroubi to take on a portfolio of socially resonant programs. Women's literacy and vocational training, support for widows and orphans, scholarships for girls in rural areas, clinics and school rehabilitation in communities hit hardest by the war, partnerships with religious charities to expand access to health services. These are the kinds of initiatives that build trust when national institutions remain fragile. They are also the kind of projects that international donors like to fund, especially when a government is seeking legitimacy. At home, her presence could help soften difficult policy decisions. A visit to a newly reopened hospital, a meeting with teachers in a Homseria village, a day with women running small businesses in Aleppo's souks. In each case, the message is less about the First Lady as a celebrity and more about the state trying to reknit its social fabric. That's not merely public relations. In countries emerging from war, the appearance of normal life can be as stabilizing as law itself. The comparison with Asma al-Assad also clarifies what Latifa is not. She is unlikely to host high-profile interviews with Western magazines. She is unlikely to push a secular agenda under the banner of modernization. Instead, her power will be quiet, rooted in symbolism, relationships with community leaders, and a set of visible, conservative values. In a Syria that is now repositioning itself toward regional power centers like Saudi Arabia and Turkey, that choice is more than cultural. It is geopolitics. A more delicate question has already surfaced online. The new president said plainly that Latifa is his only wife. Under Islamic law, a man may have up to 4 wives. Some speculate whether, in time, additional marriages could be arranged to cement alliances or reflect social norms in certain constituencies. For now, that is speculation. What matters is the message the president delivered. One wife, one family in public view, one first lady serving as the human face of a government trying to move past a history of personalized rule and opaque networks. For Latifa Al-Daroubi, this is all new. A few weeks ago, she was unknown outside a narrow circle of family and friends. Today, she is a public figure, instantly compared, instantly judged, instantly used as a screen onto which Syrians and outsiders will project their hopes and fears. That is the burden of the role. It is also the opportunity. A first lady does not make policy in a formal sense, but her presence can send a signal that policy cannot. Internationally, her early itinerary is telling. Mecca and Ankara are not just religious and political capitals. They are gateways to acceptance in the region. A first lady who performs Umrah with her husband, then spends the next day discussing humanitarian relief and girls' education with Turkey's first lady, helps reposition Syria without a single press conference. These are gestures that resonate in Arabic and Turkish media audiences more than any op-ed ever could. In this sense, Latifa Al-Daroubi's first steps onto the stage were not personal choices, they were policy. The domestic stage will be more complicated. Syria remains a patchwork of loyalties, wounds, and practical needs. Millions have been displaced. Infrastructure is broken in places where it once seemed permanent. The economy requires not just aid but investment. In that context, any first lady has to choose priorities carefully. Visible compassion will matter. So will visible restraint. A photograph in a crowded clinic, headscarf in place, listening rather than speaking, can do more to confer legitimacy than a speech in a gilded hall. That has been true from Cairo to Amman to Islamabad. There is no reason it will be different in Damascus. The contrast with Asma al-Assad may tempt some to paint this as a simple moral choice, secular vanity versus humble piety. That would be a mistake. Both approaches are political. Both are designed to speak to particular audiences at a particular time. Asma's public face served a pre-war narrative, reform without rupture, modernity without democracy. Latifa's emerging profile serves a post-war narrative, strength in tradition, stability through faith, dignity without the trappings of an elite. Looking ahead, watch for 3 indicators of her influence. First, which ministries she partners with. Education and health suggest a focus on rebuilding human capital. Social affairs and religious endowments suggest an emphasis on community networks and moral authority. Second, where she travels. Homs and Hama would be a nod to her roots. Aleppo and Deir Ezzor would signal a national vision. And third, how she speaks. A first lady who gives short, scripted remarks in formal Arabic is sending a different signal than one who holds roundtables in accessible dialect with women leaders and university students. What do you think? Will Latifa Al-Daroubi evolve into a national figure with a visible program, or will she remain a careful, conservative presence beside her husband? Can a modest first lady help rebuild trust after years of trauma? And if so, what should her first priorities be? Let us know in the comments. We read every thoughtful take and feature the most insightful in future episodes. If you found this analysis useful, hit like, subscribe, and ring the bell. Coming up, we'll break down Ahmed al-Shara's early foreign policy moves, how Syria's neighbors are responding to the change at the top, and what the new government's social agenda could mean for women, education, and public health. Stay with us for clear reporting and context you can trust.